I hear you, but I need to see you. Just don't say it, do it. And damn it, put your big mouths and your body into it. Let's get it crack-a-lacking. Not for the justice, not for the fame, but we're gonna stand here today and we're gonna say them names. We're gonna say Marcus Golden. We're gonna say Billy Hughes, Jonathan Tooby. We're gonna say Cordell Handy. We're gonna say Demetrius Hill. We're gonna say Jafford Smith. We're gonna say Phil Quinn. We're gonna also say Breonna Taylor. We're gonna say George Floyd. Who'd you say? Kendrick Johnson, Gary Hopkins Jr., Amir Brooks, Alonzo Smith. Paul Castaway, scream him, say him. Paul Castaway, let's say it. Travis Jordan. Dante Wright. Sandra Bland.
Folks are saying the names of people who lost their lives recently, mostly by police violence.
I'm a stolen lives mother. But if you're about stolen lives, I want to hear some names. Stephon Clark, Jamar Clark. Come on. Botham Jean. Brian Quinones. Eric Gardner. I didn't hear you all say Traherne nephew name. Why? I didn't hear that.
Hardell Sherrill.
Thank you. Hardell Sherrill. Philando Castile. Come on now, you all know. Y'all want me to tell you?
Terrence Franklin.
Terrence Franklin. Thurman Blevins. Ahmaud Arbery. Henry Green V. Adacia Miller. Say her name. Corrine Gaines. India Kager. Tatiana Jefferson. Adelita Mondragon. I ain't the only one should be knowing these names. See, you saying Black Lives Matter, you saying Stolen Lives Matter, you should be knowing these names. I done told you all, this ain't a motherfucking 12-step program just for the day. This is every day. Saying those names. Oscar Grant. Nakia Moody. Isaac Gayton, Delisle E. Winston Smith. Chicken Wing. Chicken Wang, Wing.
Dante Low, right?
All of them mean a damn thing. Who else we got? Tamir Rice.
So again, people are going over the names of those who've lost
Hardell
their lives.
Sherrill, we'll say it again. Courtney Williams.
Lost their lives to white supremacist violence, and some people
Jesse
lost their lives
Tigan.
inside of jails.
Ronald Lewis.
We're here on 4th
Demetrius
Street,
Hill.
Hennepin Avenue. That's Kim
Lionel
Handy
Lewis.
Jones speaking right now. She lost her son,
We said
Cordell
Mr.
Handy,
Smith,
in
Mr. Smith,
2017
we'll say it again.
to the St. Paul Police.
Okay, Marcellus Danette.
Right now they're going over
Evian
names.
Cotton.
These names are never ending.
Terrence Crutcher.
10,000 people that have been killed by the police in America
Mateel.
since 2012.
Raven Glenn.
Over 10,000, excuse me, I should say about 10,800.
We said Sandra Bland, but we'll
that's
say
the only
Sandra
ones that
Bland
have been
again.
reported.
Because people,
There's a lot of
what
inconsistencies in the
people
reportings
really
of police deaths.
tend to cling to is high
Folks
profile. But I
folks
like
are
to
speaking
think
on
of
police
high
deaths because
profile,
that's where
low profile or no profile.
the protests for
Because
Jacob
one
Blake
thing about it,
started.
ain't none of them coming back from the grave.
Police
The graveyard
shooting
don't
Jacob
lie,
Blake last
people.
year in August, which led to
Charlena Lyles.
the act that killed Joe
Quanah
Rosenbaum and
O'Crane.
Anthony Hooper and injured Gage Groceries. We'll get into that a little bit
Alan Bluford.
after this speech.
Ryan
Gibb.
Ryan Gibb.
Ryan White Mountain.
Ryan White Mountain. Who's screaming from the back? Say that name. Tyrone West. Tyrese West. Rodney King, who didn't die, but I believe, and I will always believe, the injuries that he sustained and the beating from the police killed him. They stole his life too. It just took a little longer. Sarah Lee Circlebear. So your assignment tonight and for the rest of your lives is to go home and learn these names and say them. Because remember, my child and children like mine around the globe paid the price for yours to be here. And we're paying the price for yours to remain here and for your seeds to be born and for you to be able to see them, a privilege that was denied to me and many. So let's not forget that. And Nakima, sisters like you and brothers like you, I just have to say thank you. And I always say, if I had a million tongues, I couldn't thank people like you enough who have never lost kids, but are here fighting day in and day out. Thank you. And like you fight for mine, I will always keep my boots on the ground to fight for yours. Understand that. From my lips to God's ears to yours. Who am I bringing up?
So we are about 1 block away from the first precinct here in Minneapolis, and last year,
I'd like to
after
bring up the Climate
Jacob Blake was
Justice
shot.
Committee. I'm sorry,
Okay, we're
it's
gonna
called.
actually listen to some speakers.
Climate Justice Committee. Oh, the motherfucking police is shit.
My name's Kent Maury from the Climate Justice Committee, and we've discovered over the summer and the fall that the whole damn system is guilty as hell. So there's a lot of water protectors and indigenous folks up north that are facing felony charges, while Kyle Rittenhouse, basically rotten house, he basically walks out free. Well, the Climate Justice Committee unites with all of you, and we're going to be in the streets to hold accountable all white supremacists and MAGA people. And that's exactly right. So the Climate Justice Committee stands in solidarity with all people standing up for holding cops accountable, for holding white supremacists accountable, and thank you very much.
Next, coming up to the mic, this young brother, I call him my son, because he's around that age with my son, who's no longer here, and in between the age of the one that is. I adore him. We were at the Capitol, was it last year? And he was standing there. And I always tell people, I don't know who's going to take the mic. I just know it's Kimberly Andy Jones, but who shows up, that's another person. And he happened to be standing there as I was talking and doing me. And he said he was left with a decision after I spoke. Do I just go home and be there, or do I get activated? And after I got done speaking, he said he made the decision to get activated, and I'm so glad he did, because I tell you, we needed his voice. Son, Tucson, too, I call my son. Come on.
Listen!
Come on up here, I love you.
Give it up for Kim Handy Jones, y'all. Give it up for all the organizers today. My goodness. It looks like your first precinct got some new fence up on it. They got a little throwdown shed. They can just lock up whenever they want.
Similar to the
Who
New
paid
York
for that?
bodegas, Athens stores.
We paid for that.
There's now a pull-down door in front
That
of
is
the
that
first precinct.
bullshit. We paid for that.
Similar to the
And
Target.
we're out here right now
on East Lake Street.
because the world that people live in, where they don't need to discuss race, is shrinking. That world is no longer existing for all of us here. And a lot of people want to jump in the comments and say, why are you making this about race? I never made it about race. It was made about race when colonizers came to this country and started slaughtering brown people. It was made about race when colonizers disconnected black people from our homeland and brought us here as a commodity, as less than human. I'm not making it about race. It was about race before I was born. So when people say don't make it about race, what they're saying is stop making me feel uncomfortable. Well, you better get used to it, because it's going to get real fucking uncomfortable for the rest of the years to come. It's uncomfortable with the knee on your neck for over 9 minutes. It's uncomfortable to get shot in the back several times when you're going to your kid's van. It's uncomfortable when you get shot execution style in a basement like Terrence Franklin. That's real uncomfortable.
Say that.
You should have the luxury just to feel a little unnerved because somebody pointed out that this case was about race. With the judge up there who was appointed by Democrats. So believe that voting ain't enough. Red or blue, it doesn't matter. It comes down to white or black a lot of times. Saying autumn leaves to the defendant, had his phone go off several times while the trial was going on, had everybody salute the defense expert in the courtroom. Who does that? Had this young white man pick his own, pick the jury from a ballot box.
That's fucked up.
And did everything to coddle this young man through this trial. And you're gonna tell me this isn't about race. I know brown folks out here that are gonna do time for protesting longer than Kyle Rittenhouse will ever see the inside of a prison. Somebody say that ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. You know that the system is rigged. And you're gonna tell me that it's not. That's that bullshit. That is that bullshit. You can't tell me that the sky ain't blue. You're gonna sit here and tell me that gravity don't exist. You're gonna sit here and tell me that the world ain't round. What the hell is you talking about? The legal system is rigged, and it has been rigged from the start to prey upon poor, neglected people of color. And it has been to the advantage of white men like Kyle Rittenhouse. I see it clear as day, you see it clear as day, and you're out here to say that that ain't right. You're saying that ain't right. And for the people that are thinking about going into law, that are practicing law, or are in law school currently, change this. Change this now. Make this right. Make this right. Make the system actually work. If anything, push it in the right direction. Because there are so many young black men behind bars right now for shit that they never did, guns that they never touched, drugs that they never did, and they will not see the light of day. They will not be able to hug their children, and they are behind bars because that system preyed upon them. That same system that exonerates a young white man. This police station over here does not work. It is broken from the ground to the top. It is broken. It is defunct. It is not needed. It needs to be changed. It needs to be held accountable. This 75-year-old white man that presided over this young white man, that's generations of power, rank, and privilege. Kyle Rittenhouse has a mother. His mother has a mother. Her mother has a mother. He did not learn that in a vacuum. That was passed down to him. That is generational racism. Our generational trauma is due to your generational power, rank, and privilege, and we're standing here and say that that's not right. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. And it's about race, and it's about you getting uncomfortable, and it's about us making this better. We still and we'll continue to be out here. Keep up the fight. Keep your boots on the ground. Everybody out here is doing the work. And not everybody can be out here. Not everybody can be out here. So take some time to continue this conversation and push this forward. Fight back, y'all. All power to the people.
Hey, give him a big round of applause. No good cops in a racist system.
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 Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. We're gonna have a speaker from Care, Minnesota come up real quick. Can we say nah? Give a big round of applause.
CARE stands for Council on American Islamic Relations, Minnesota.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. First, I want to greet all of you with Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Salam means peace for those of you that don't know. My name is Zainab Mohammed. I am the Community Advocacy Manager with the Council on American Islamic Relations. That's a Muslim civil rights organization based out of here in the state of Minnesota. And first of all, I want to thank all of you for not just being here today, but every day boots on the ground. And I'm sad that every single time that I see a lot of you, it's in circumstances like this, right? On a day like today where what we've always known, right, becomes validated, that this system works as it's meant to, right? To uphold white supremacy, capitalism. And how can you expect, right, a nation that's built off of stolen people's, work? How can you expect that to work? I think I don't want to give too much attention to Kyle. What I do want to give attention to is the millions of black men, brown men and immigrant men that are in prisons, that are convicted of convicted on charges and things that they haven't even committed. Because it's almost always white jurors that get decided. Kind of like, how Kyle got to pick his own jurors. We don't get to decide that. It's people who don't look like us, who don't look like us, who don't know our experiences. They get to decide what our fate is. And it's those same people that create these systems that uphold them. And it will take all of you to continue organizing, being boots on the ground, because that is the only thing that will work. That's the only thing that has worked. I want to thank all of you for being out here, for being boots on the ground. And I'm going to end it with a chant. Black lives, they matter here.
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 Right say now.
Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. Native lives. Native lives. Black women. Black women. Black men. Black men. Native men. Native women. Black children. Native children. Black children. So we're going to bring up Dion. Please come up to the mic and say a couple words for us. Give her a big... We're right here. Imani, I'm sorry. Give her a round of applause.
All right, Imani.
Thank you. I'm just going to say a spoken word piece that I wrote when Dante Wright was first murdered.
Go ahead, Imani. Do your thing.
I'm not angry. I'm tired. Tired of wondering why black and brown people are killed by the police. Tired of my little cousins asking me, Imani, why is there a National Guard outside of our house? Tired of getting tear gas for simply standing up for justice. Tired of a cop that was on a police force for 26 years mistake a gun for a taser even though they don't weigh the same. I'm tired of black mothers crying over their sons and daughters being killed. Tired of having my little cousins educate them on racism. Tired of getting bashed for simply saying my life matters. I'm tired of seeing the history repeats itself for the last 400 years. I'm tired of the excuses that they make up. A white lady said he whistled at her. Those Skittles look like a gun. He was sleeping in his car in the drive-thru. He may try to fake a $20 bill. She left her front door open. He had a legal arm in his car. He was walking down the street. He was selling CDs. He had an air freshener in his car. How many reasons are they going to make up to justify murder? Nobody should die in the hands of a cop that's supposed to protect and serve this community. But Kyle Rittenhouse and Dylan Roof gets to shoot innocent people and get a pass while Breonna Taylor was sleeping. We live in two different systems where men like Brandon Bernard get falsely accused of murder while the murderers that kill Emmett Till gets away with it. It makes me sick to my stomach. Growing up, watching a cop put a knee on a black man's neck and seeing the BIPOC community get terrorized. Like I said, I'm not angry, but I'm tired. How many names are we going to say? It's hitting too close to home. We need to stand in solidarity together. Black Lives Matter isn't political. It's not controversial. We matter. White supremacy is the enemy, what keeps us separated. All proud to the people. Thank you.
That was Imani.
You go, Imani. You go, girl. And it's okay. You can be angry if you need to be angry. Those are normal emotions. And if you need to be angry, be angry. They better not fuck with you. I know that. So, next coming up to the mic is my sister, this beautiful black queen. She do the damn thing. I am proud to call her sister. I am proud to stand in the motherfucking damn gaps with you. I am proud to be an alumni of Minnesota. But most of all, I am proud of the person that God called you to be. And I am proud of him calling your hands to do the work. Come on up here, sister. I love you, Queen. Nakima Levy Armstrong.
All right, y'all. It's really frustrating that we have to keep saying the same thing again and again and again, and having people act like they don't understand. Acting like they don't understand what has happened historically, where we have always been told that our lives are worth a fraction of white lives. And we just saw that being played out again in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And like somebody just said, that the judge in that case acted like Kyle Rittenhouse was his grandson. It was despicable and disgusting to watch. As a mother of a child who will be a black boy who will be 17 next month, it made me sick to my stomach to think that Kyle Rittenhouse's mother helped perpetuate white supremacy. What kind of mother drives their child across state lines with a high-powered weapon? But here's the deeper thing to me. When I think about the impacts of the child protection system on black families and Native families, I'm wondering where the hell is child protection in a situation like this? How does that mother escape accountability? How many times when our children get into trouble, even doing things that are minor, are the parents demonized? How many times is the community demonized? How many times are black families pathologized when they're just being who they are? But when a white mother rises up, she didn't have to have a white hood on for us to know what she stood for.
That's right.
She has not been held accountable, which is unacceptable. And it reminds me of another person, and that was Derek Chauvin. Because y'all remember what he did. But did we learn about his family?
Yes, we did.
Did we learn about his upbringing? Did we learn about how his parents raised him? Did we learn about the community that he grew up in? No. If we're talking about a pathology, we need to be looking at what is happening in white families across America. And what I said, we need to be looking at what is happening in white families across America.
That's right.
That's not something we should shy away from.
That's right.
Okay, because y'all are out here because you care about black lives and you care about justice, but there's a whole lot of families that are sitting back, perpetuating white supremacy and a racist ideology and anti-blackness, and nobody is holding them accountable.
That's right.
How many white folks are scared to even broach the issue of racial injustice and white supremacy at the dinner table?
Say that.
We got a racist holiday coming up, Thanksgiving, right? And we know that a lot of folks are going to celebrate Thanksgiving, but how many are going to put these issues on the goddamn table and hold their white relatives accountable for what they are doing, what they are saying, what they are thinking, how they are treating black people,
Say that.
and how they're treating white allies who stand with black people, as we saw what happened in Kenosha.
That's right.
They were standing in the gap in solidarity for black lives, and they were treated just like black people. So we need to understand that. And this is something that Mel Reeves came up and talked to me about as we gathered here, about a piece he wrote talking about Kyle Rittenhouse and how those individuals that he killed and that he shot were like in lovers. Right? That's how they were viewed. And that's why they got the treatment that we often get as black people. There's no way in the world that if Kyle Rittenhouse was black or any other young man of color, that he would have been allowed to walk freely on the streets of Kenosha, let alone kill somebody, shoot somebody, walk up to the cops with some white supremacist hand signal, and run his ass back across state lines. And then after he did all his harm, he has the nerve to bring about white tears on the stand. Yes, he was faking. I didn't see a single tear drop from his eye. And if your ass is that scared, you should have stayed in Illinois. You don't get to kill somebody and then cry later. But that's what white supremacy has done in this country. They have authorized white men to kill again and 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 to get away with it. But what we're saying is enough is enough. I said enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
We have to be willing to use our voices. And we cannot be confused when people show up trying to tell us what's best for our community.
That's right.
And you don't see none of their asses out here. I saw collars, I saw white progressives telling us what we need from Minneapolis. Where are they now? Where were they then? Where were they when we went to Bob Crow's house? Demanding that he be fired or resign. Nowhere in sight. Where were they when we shut down I-94? With over 646 of us still facing criminal charges for standing up for black lives and standing up for justice. That wasn't out there. So you see people, imposters, coming out the woodwork trying to tell us what's best for our community. If you're really about this life, then get out on the front lines and use your white privilege.
That's right.
And I have to remind people that just because somebody says that they're progressive doesn't mean that they stand for racial justice.
That's right.
A progressive agenda is not necessarily synonymous with the racial justice agenda.
That's right.
And we see where we bump heads when we started starting ourselves as proud black people fighting for black liberation.
Come on.
That's when suddenly people don't want to listen to what we have to say. They want to ignore our perspectives. They want to ignore our experiences. But just like Kim said, I refuse to back down. I refuse to shut up. I refuse to run. I'm standing up on the shoulders of giants.
That's right.
The people who came before us. The people who lived to tell the story. The people whose blood was shed because of their black skin.
That's right.
So I will not be moved. And if somebody is claiming that they're progressive and they care about black lives, then show the damn proof that's what you stand for. Don't just come knock on our doors telling us vote blue no matter who.
Come on.
And then when we vote for their asses, they say shit like what we just heard from Biden. The system works. And he knows he's a liar.
Right.
The system does not work.
Come on.
Unless you agree that the system is working just as it was intended to work. That's the only way that you can say that.
That's right.
So I'm asking those so-called white progressives to put some skin in the game.
That's right.
It's not just showing up on the polls of election day with whatever your agenda is. It's being out with the people. It's looking at the issue not only of policing, but making sure that they're held accountable. How can you allow these officers to be in this building and not once call for accountability for any of them? It's completely unacceptable. And then when we go look at our criminal justice system, how many black bodies, brown bodies, poor bodies, people with mental health issues locked up in the criminal justice system? If you progressive, take your ass to the DOC and advocate for a change.
What you say?
If you progressive, why the hell are we 50th in the nation when it comes to educating black children? Your children, okay?
Exactly.
Where you at? Go to the Department of Education and demand justice, transparency, accountability, and equality. So I'm not trying to hear somebody who's telling me, vote this way, vote that way, jump on this bandwagon, jump on that bandwagon. No. I'm standing on the shoulders of those who have come before me.
There you go.
whose bloodline runs through my veins.
Come on, girl.
Who sees the injustices in this system, and they're nudging us. Keep going, keep fending, keep fighting. Don't give up, don't stop, don't shut up.
Not never.
We have to do what we are called to do in this day and age. And I refuse to be tricked. I refuse to be hoodwinked. I refuse to be bamboozled. I don't give a damn if what I say is popular or it's not. It's the truth anyway.
That's right. Say that
It is the truth. And I will continue to speak the truth. And at the end of the day, we know that there's more people like Kyle Rittenhouse that are out there. We know it's more militiamen. We know it's people who were empowered during the Trump administration that's still out there. We know they got high-powered weapons. So we have to make sure that we are preparing ourselves. And we are understanding that this is not just fun and games and popularity. This is a real battle that we are in the midst of. So we need to prepare ourselves accordingly. I don't know about y'all, I was totally anti-gun before George Floyd was killed. And then when I saw all these white supremacists able to come into the Twin Cities, chase people, shoot people, and attack people and get away with it, I'm like, what was I see why Malcolm X had that shotgun standing at the door to protect his family. He didn't just have a hope and a prayer. He had firepower to protect his family. So at this point, I'm in a whole different space in terms of understanding what the Black Panther Party meant when they took to the streets to protect their community. So many of us went last summer. We got our carry and conceals.
Say that.
And we said, look, if we're going to be out here on the streets, we can't just hope our words and our chants protect us.
Come on now.
We got to protect us because we all we got. Y'all see that first precinct is boarded up? They're not coming out here. We didn't call them out here. We don't want them out here. We have to protect us. So at the end of the day, realize the battle that we are in. Don't get tricked. Don't get bamboozled. Don't get hoodwinked. Don't let people continue to divide this movement. Because that's the sad part, right? Some of us are out here, and then the moment somebody comes with some new ideas and they haven't done shit before that, people running here, running there. And I'm steady as a rock.
Say that. Say that.
Right? That's the bottom line, because I've seen the tricks and the traps that they've tried to put forward, and it is not beneficial to our community. So you got to show us a plan. At the end of the day, a plan for what you want to do to transform policing, transform this city, bring some economic justice, and address the disparities that Black communities, indigenous communities, and other communities of color are experiencing. We deserve to be protected. We deserve to be respected. We deserve to be valued. Why? Because Black lives matter. Thank y'all. Love y'all.
Thank you, Nakima. That put it on the damn line. And white people, you need to be willing to cross over the line. You need to be willing to step over the line. You need to be willing to lay it all down on the line. Every single bit of it. And again, she's right. We won't be moved. We shall not be moved. Because moving didn't save our children. Being quiet didn't save our children. Being nice didn't save our children. And even though we out here, we speaking our truths, it is still not saving our children. But we're going to continue to stick, we're going to continue to stand, and we're going to continue to stay. And we shall not be moved. Next, I would like to call Minnesota Justice Coalition. Jonathan McClellan, who's out here fighting, trying to change laws, putting in the work. And it's not just going to take him, it's going to take us. But the fact that he's out here trying to make change. See, some of y'all out here, you say you want changes, but if you don't change, nothing changes. You got to change how you feel, what you think. Because the Bible says, so as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you think about my privilege is more than black lives, then that's who you are. You're about your privilege. But if you think black lives are worth saving over your privilege, then throw it away. Throw it away. It don't matter anyway. If you're white, you're going to have it anyway. But you might as well go on style out and do you anyway. You still got that privilege. But do the right thing. Use it. Because if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So use it. Come on up here, Jonathan McClellan, before I punch you in your throat if you don't get up here and say something. I told him I was going to say that.
All right. Hello, my name is Jonathan McClellan. I'm president of the Minnesota Justice Coalition. We are part of a collective of organizations that work with the community and families to draft and advance legislation and other policy initiatives at the Capitol in St. Paul and in Washington, D.C. Once again, America has showed that the First Amendment has no meaning. And this jury declared open season on the First Amendment. And what could be more egregious is a sitting judge being allowed to put his hand on the scales of justice, allowing his bias to taint a jury. We demand the federal government intervene and charge Kyle Rittenhouse with the federal violations for his actions, and also ask the Wisconsin Attorney General to recharge Kyle with underage possession of a firearm. We are in a state of affairs of our quest to obtain justice and equality, with Kenosha now being ground zero of the match that has sparked this outpouring of consciousness for our shared community. We are still here waiting to cash that check that has fallen on a bankrupt system of expedient politicians, administrators, and tolerant allies of the same in opposition to progress for a more perfect union. For far too long, we have been victims of this plague, and we're here to say no more. No more to the policies that divide us based on our diversity. No more to the policies that break up families of color. No more to hashtags. No more to the policies that put all the eggs in the basket of white imperialism while paying lip service to our communities of color and our never-ending fight for justice. No more to the boots on our necks of our children, our brothers and sisters, our uncles, our fathers, our nieces and nephews, our friends, and our future. Like the slaveholders of the South, in the founding of this country, the opposition to progress fights for unrighteousness. They argue for division. They promote through their actions or lack thereof a distorted reality that places one class of people over the other and fails to see the humanity in all that is sacred under God. They turn their back to the promise that all men are created equal and have been endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. The right to life, the right to life, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We are not asking for a handout. We want your boot off our neck. We want a fair shot. And this includes in the court. We want a level playing field and not a hill we have to climb and fight with one hand tied behind our back or a knee in our neck and a gun to our head or the head of our children. The system is broken. And the one branch of government that justice is supposed to flow has showed their cards to the world. Shame on you. While I was in Kenosha yesterday, there was a man holding the only sign supporting Kyle Rittenhouse. While engaging in discussion with others, he said, "It is a great day for the Second Amendment." I turned to him and said, "At the expense of what?" Because the last time I checked, the First Amendment came before the Second. Once again, we asked the federal government to intervene, and we asked that Kyle Rittenhouse be charged, and that justice flow like a never-ending stream. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Also, white people, let me remind you, police have stolen some of your people, too. So let's just say justice for Jonathan Victor. I don't hear you. Justice for Jonathan Victor.
Victor's down in Louisiana.
Justice for Tony Biggert. I'm sorry, not Tony Biggert. Take that back. Sorry, Tony. Sorry about that, Tony. Justice for Joseph Biggert.
Joseph was killed out in Wisconsin, in Green Bay.
Justice for David Jackson Page.
Justice for David
Jackson Page was out in Colorado, killed.
So, next coming up is a young lady who reached out to me and Michelle Gross and Monique Cullors Doty 3 years ago. And even though her fiance, loved one, had been gone for many years, and she was right, when her loved one got taken, it wasn't like it is today. So pretty much she was out here trying to figure out how to get things done, to figure out how to get justice. But fighting now to get justice. And this young lady, me and her, I'd had to get in her ass. But I love her still the same. And she know when I get in your butt, it's for a reason. But it's for good. And you know what? I love the fact that when I tell you things, you embrace it, and you're calm and you're honest, and you say, you know, Miss Kim, I thank you. I thank you for listening. And if you're crying, let those be tears of joy, you know. And I called on to my platform, and she's been speaking ever since. Thank you for standing on the front lines, for using your voice, for pushing people when they don't want to be pushed. I'm going to say to you, sister, you keep pushing, you keep fighting. Don't worry about how long. And thank God that you're a long-distance runner. Because, see, that's what keeps me going. I'm a long-distance runner. You can't stop me. As I get old, I get young. Because, you know, I think like that. I think no matter how old I am, if God give me strength, and he give me the will to get up, if I ain't laying down there and I can get up, I'm gonna make changes. That's what I'm going to do. And I want you to just stand in your truth. No matter what come, what go. No matter who come, who stay. Just know God is with you all the way. Keep doing you. Don't ever stop. And to families who have lost stolen lives, I just want to say this. Let's not be selfish. Because this is one thing I don't do, and you know I don't. I don't talk about Cordell a whole lot.
We're going to have a black screen for a very short time.
Stop calling one name and start saying all them names. I refuse to be distracted. Hell with what they talking about. We shall not be moved. We gonna stand right here by any means necessary. I ain't going nowhere. Cause me running didn't save my son. I'm standing right here. And whatever go on to my right, we gonna keep it right there. Kim ain't moving. And don't you move. Tashira, come up.
I thank you all for continuously coming out here to fight with our families. We are your back. Because at the end of the day, the people that have been stolen, they came with a family. That's right. They came with people that love them. So to all the white supremacists and all of the ones that think that they are above other human beings, I'm here to tell you that we loved our loved ones and we will be standing for them. We will not back down. We will not be quiet. We will not shut up. We will show up every single time there's an injustice. Every single time that you let a white supremacist walk free when they supposed to be behind bars. Every single time you slay one of our people, we will show up and we will not be quiet. We will not lay down and we will not shut up. And I want to thank every last woman and every last person that have come alongside our families to fight with us, to lift us up when we are hurting the most. Because behind all of this, we are hurting in a way that we can never describe to you. But we keep coming out here. And we're going to continue to show up. And like Ms. Kim said, we have to say each and every name of each and every person that shed blood on these streets. We have to say their names because they're equally important. It's not no more life with one person
each and every one that they've stolen from us is equally important. Equally had somebody that loved them. So when you march, think of Cordell Hendy. Think of Justin Tiger. Think of Marcus Golden. Think of Kobe Heisler. Think of Travis Jordan. Think of Dante White. Think of Jamar Clark. Think of Philando Castile. Think of the names. Go down the list. Go down the list. And if you need a list, Michelle Gross got a whole package she can provide for you. But they're equally important, and we need you guys to continue to show up for us. What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
We need you guys to continue to stick together as well. We don't. I'm going to keep it 100, and I'm going to let this mic go. But we can't be talking about each other behind each other's backs.
Yeah.
We can't be backstabbing each other because we all we got.
Come on.
We depending on each other to fight against the evil, and we got a bigger fight against us. We got real life white supremacists showing up to protest and killing the people that's standing up for other human beings. So we don't need to fight against each other when we have a real enemy at large. There is nothing that you can do or say to me that can make me hate you when I know that it was evil that put my son's father in that trash. When I know that it was evil that shot Cordell Hendy when he had his hands holding up. When I know that it was evil that shot Dante Wright when he was just trying to get away because he was scared on the phone with his mama. So there's not one human being out here that can make me hate you. Keep your boots on the ground and do not be discouraged. Do not let no words make you back down. Do not let no fear make you back down. Do not let no gossip make you back down. Keep your boots on the ground and keep moving forward. As Miss Kim say, boots on the ground. Keep the boots on the ground. I thank you for all being here today. They don't want me to say my aside chant. They want me to wait to the end. But I thank you all, and I ask that you remember the trial that is coming for Dante Wright November 30th. And we will stand in solidarity with that family and back them up like we're going to do all these families. Call all their names when you out here and keep your boots on the ground. Love you. Thank you.
That was Tashira Garraway, Justin Teagan's fiance. Justin lost his life after an encounter with the St. Paul
She
police.
was right.
12 years
You
ago.
can talk about me, though. I don't give a damn. They talked about Jesus Christ, and he ain't had no boss. And yet they still persecuted him and hung him on the cross. And he died that we might have life. So whatever you say about Kim is fine with me, because I probably talked about your ass, too. All right? I just keep it 100. But if I said it once, I'll say it again. I'll stand on it. But most of all, I stand on the promise of God. And she's right. What we going through, it too shall come to pass. Because I can promise you, if God brought you to it, he'll bring you through it. We ain't stuck in this storm. We're just going through, people. But we'll be able to dance in the rain. Because we praise God in the storm. Understand that. Understand that that dance, it'll happen. It might not feel like it. It might not even seem like it. It might not even feel good, but it will work out for our good. Next, I'd like to call up Minister Toya Woodland. Sister, come on up here and put a praise on. I'm gonna put a praise on it.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Minister Toya Woodland, and y'all act like we haven't seen this before. Y'all don't remember the three young men that went to Mississippi during the civil rights movement to sign people up to vote? Y'all act like we ain't never seen this before. Y'all act like this has not happened before. Y'all act like this is not this thing that they've done to us before. So So why do we act surprised when white supremacy shows up and shows its ugly face one more time and again? I said, why do we act surprised when white supremacy shows up and shows its ugly face one more time and again? Why are y'all surprised? It's time for us to start to put our foot down. I'm tired of being out here begging for my humanity. I don't know about y'all. I said, I'm tired of being out here begging for my humanity. Are you tired of being out here begging for your humanity? Are you tired? Yeah. Are you tired? Yeah. I don't think so. Are you tired? Yeah. How many times does someone have to lose a life for us to understand that this is not, they're not for us? How many times does someone have to lose a life for us to understand that we all we get? How many times do we have to? Are you tired of showing up in the cold? Are you tired? Are you tired? I can't hear y'all. Are you tired? Yeah. What are we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do about it? Shut it down. What are we going to do about it? Shut it down. As many times as we have to. As many times as we have to. Those 3 young men did not ask to be killed. They didn't show. Listen, I was in Kenosha. I showed up on the scene, and there were white supremacists with guns. They were out there trying to protect, so-called protect their community. These young men were there peacefully, trying to protect black lives, standing in the front of black people. But what happens? What happened to them? They got murdered. Why? Because white supremacy doesn't believe that black lives matter. White supremacy does not believe that black lives matter. 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 Black lives do matter. They matter. And until black lives matter, all lives can matter. Until what? All lives can't matter. Until black lives matter.
All lives can't matter.
Until black lives matter.
Thank you, Toya. We appreciate you. We love you. So remember your assignment. We getting ready to shut it down. Trey Hearn is getting ready to close it. Remember your assignment. And when you can remember to say those names, that's when you'll be able to feel my pain. Tashira Garraway Allen pain. Delshia Perry pain. Marilyn Hill. Monique Cullors Doty. Matilda Smith. Donald Chisasi. Tony Biegert. Christina Page. Marion Gray Hopkins. Lynn Eagle Feather. All these people. Valerie Castile. When you can feel our pain and you can say those names, that's when I know that those lives matter now, they matter still, and they always will, people. Say those names. Say her name. Say Korean Gangs, Indian K girl, Breonna Taylor. Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Say them, because when one of us are affected, all of us are affected. And I need you all to remember that Black Lives Matter. No silence, no chitter, no chatter. Black Lives Matter. Say it loud. Say it boldly. Say it unapologetically. But say it like you mean it. Say it like you mean it. And when you just don't talk the talk, walk the walk. Because I'm not really listening to too much of what you're saying. I'm watching a whole lot of what you're doing. So when you can do better, we all can be better. Let's be better together. Tashira said something that my son left with me when he left my house coming back here to this murderous state. He said, Mama, We are all we got. We are all we got, people. And we are enough. Now let me hear you say, we are enough.
We are enough.
And enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
I love you all. Keep the fight going. Keep your boots on the ground by any means necessary. And no matter, you know what? There's days I want to throw my boots in, but God throw them back, and he said, keep going, because you ain't done yet, girl. Keep going. Let's keep going, people. Minnesota, I love you. Stand tall, stand together, stand strong all day long. Love you, Minnesota.
Love you too.
Keep your boots on the ground.
Again, that was Kim Annie Jones. She lost her son, Cordell.
Boots on the
4 years
ground.
ago.
We're here.
St. Paul.
We're here to shut this shit down. Boots, boots, boots on the ground.
Again, this
We're
is a
here.
rally
We're here to shut this
against
shit
white
down.
supremacy
Now,
and for justice
we're
for the
gonna
victims
just
of
real
Kyle
quick. We got one
Rittenhouse.
last speaker, then we're gonna head back. Want to give a big shout out to my man Lavish. He went out to the school and checked the school about white supremacy, and that's where white supremacy is being taught in our schools to the children. So in Minnesota, we've been having problems in our schools over the last couple years, and I'll let Lavish tell you more about it.
Blessings. So firstly, I want to have everybody keep in mind that we out here let's not think about Kyle Rittenhouse, let's think about Joseph Rosenbaum, who he killed, and Anthony Huber. When we were just in Kenosha with a couple other people out here, and the energy there was atrocious. There was so much division between people. It was a proxy for America. It was disgusting to be there. The energy literally made you want to throw up. So it's just a blessing to see people together. And we can have our differences and still be one at the same time. You know, we shouldn't focus on our differences, but our similarities. Being in Kenosha was disgusting. This event right here is better than anything that happened there that entire time. You know, so I just wanted to say that. So I'm going to say their names. I haven't heard their names yet for real. So Joseph Rosenbaum.
Joseph Rosenbaum.
Anthony Huber.
Anthony Huber.
Joseph Rosenbaum.
Joseph Rosenbaum.
Anthony Huber.
Anthony Huber.
Being out there was so crazy, y'all, so I just wanted to give y'all some insight to that. Also, if there's any parents or people on school boards or anything like that, I'm really focusing on schools right now. So if you have ever experienced or currently experiencing, got a student, got a friend, a cousin that goes to one of these racist-ass institutions known as schools, DM me that. Send me that. So that's the focus right now. Also, on the 22nd, this Monday, there will be a school board meeting at Prior Lake High School. So Naya will be there. Naya's sister will be there. Y'all need to be there. 6 p.m. I'm going to post a flyer. November 30th, Kim Potter's trial. Everybody need to be there. All the organizers need to come together and make one big-ass thing, and everybody come out. Joseph Rosenbaum.
Joseph Rosenbaum.
Anthony Huber.
Anthony Huber.
Let's get it, y'all. Keep their names in our mind when we're marching.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
No good cops in a racist system.
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 The march is on
No
the move
good
now.
cops in a racist
Again, we're here live in
system.
Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis, where
No
about
cops. No
300 to 500
KKK,
folks
no
originally had
racist
gathered.
No cops. No KKK.
Gathered to say they wanted justice for JoJo Rosenbaum, for Anthony Huber, and to say to get rid of white supremacy. So what you saw here on 4th Street, on 4th Street in Hennepin was about 7 to 10 speakers. A lot of them were focusing on some of the inconsistencies within the society and some of the institutional racism. We heard a little bit about the trial that happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. Obviously, Rittenhouse was just exonerated of all charges for killing 2 people in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and wounding another. Last last year when Jacob Blake was killed by police, when Jacob Blake was shot by police in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He was shot in the back like 7 times, I believe. He was able to live. But then people came to the streets demanded justice for him. None of the officers were getting, looked at like any charges. People here in Minneapolis came to the streets, protested. At the protest in Minneapolis, after it was done, people that went up to the first precinct, a block or 2 away from where we just were, and a targeted arrest happened afterwards, where about 6 or 7 to 10 people were targeted on their way home, swarmed, followed, surveyed by the police, then killed, and then arrested sort of brutally. And so if you want to check that out, go to our piece from last year as well, where we talked to some of the youth that were targeted. So I bring that up because that is, people were protesting for Jacob Blake here. People were protesting for Jacob Blake here in Minneapolis, where at the same time, about a day or 2 later, Kyle Rittenhouse had crossed state lines from Illinois to Wisconsin, got the gun that he had purchased in Wisconsin that was stored at his friend's house. He was 17 at the time, started protecting businesses. From him protecting those businesses, he ended up shooting, killing 2 people, Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber, wounding another, Gage Grosskreutz. Anthony Huber had connections to Minneapolis, and a lot of people knew him, where actually he was a medic, and a lot of people really, they liked him. He had connections here. So it means a lot to this community as well.
There's no pride in genocide.
Where you have a death that's then basically called for by white supremacy, a lot of people are looking at it as. And then therefore, the person who was killed does not get any justice. So it means a lot for a lot of these folks here as well.
There's no pride in genocide. There's no pride in genocide. Fuck your turkey and your side. Fuck your turkey and your side. There's no pride in genocide. There's no pride in genocide. Fuck your turkey and your side. Fuck your turkey and your side. Who's the enemy? White supremacy. Who's the enemy? White supremacy. Who's the enemy? White supremacy. Who's the enemy?
See some of the flags, anti-fascist action, Black Lives Matter flag.
Christopher Columbus,
There's not much wind going on, so you can't see much of the wind coming off. Oh, thank you.
No cops. No KKK.
Very much, thank you.
USA. No cops.
Yeah, thank you.
No KKK. No racist.
We got Justice Frontline Aid out here as marshals. They're helping a lot of folks. They actually just picked up a lens cap I dropped and helped me so thank you for Justice Frontline Aid. They're also out here with food and water for folks, as well as medical supplies. So if anybody gets cold, they got hand warmers and whatnot. Again, it's Saturday. We're here downtown Minneapolis, and this is blocking traffic. Hennepin Avenue, where people were just at, a very large thoroughfare for Saturday night parties and bars and stuff. All the streets were shut down there for over an hour. There's been 0 police presence out here. Very peaceful protest out here, calling for justice for the 2 who were killed by Kyle Rittenhouse, the abolishment of white supremacy, and the acknowledgement that this reality is happening continuously here in America, where people are now even drawing the comparison where, okay, yeah, it was white folks that were the victim of another white person, but also it was brought up that, like, look, you go back in the time and you go back right now. And a lot of the times people are saying some of those folks in Wisconsin or some of the apparatus of power was sort of calling those white folks N-word lovers, and so therefore it was okay that they got killed. So if you look back in the history of America, that's just last generation. So it's not very hard to see that that could be also the reality. So right now we hear the chant is free, free Palestine. So this march has gone on through a litany of topics, most of them regarding anti-racism, against imperialism, and against the police. Not maybe against the police here, but against police killings and police brutality, against imperialist actions, against colonialism, against white supremacy and the founding of this country within the institutions. Now people are saying that they want to utilize some of the amendments. We heard Jonathan McClellan talking about the amendments, talking about the Constitution, and saying that should be then recognized to be used for all and not just white folks. So, as you can see, we're coming up to 2nd Avenue off of 4th Street. The march is going to go right back to the government center where it started. Sorry, we were not able to go live right when it started, but we went live like as it had maneuvered itself down a few blocks away.
Get him in the street! Get him in the street!
As you see down here, this Justice Frontline Aid, they got the food, and they've been marshaling front, back, and the sides. There's a whole bunch of cars that are protecting this march as well. There's at least 20 marshals. These aren't the marshals that are forming the blockade and looking in at the crowd. They're actually more so worried about protecting the crowd from the outside. There's been car attacks. We were just filming, we were just live tweeting and covering, documenting the full extent of the Charlottesville trial, where in 2017, Unite the Right, white supremacist gathering resulted into a death of anti-racist activist Heather Heyer after she was hit with a car attack. You look here in Minneapolis, Deanna Marie last month, 3 months ago, excuse me, in June, a couple months ago, in June, she was killed by a driver in a car attack. So that's why you have people here in this march protecting the march, because it matters to them to stay safe while they're expressing their grievances. Because there's a real, not just a perceived threat, it's a real threat. People are literally attacking these types of protests. The court cases for that Nicholas Krause who killed Deanna Marie is coming up again. He had one court case already, or one court date. So up off to the left is the federal center, federal government center. Excuse me, the federal building. That's where they have federal court. Down below is tunnels. Here, right here on the right side is the city hall. Up at the top is the clock. So the jails are up in the top as well, and the basement, and the new jail is across the street from there. So some people are still jailed up in these top of the building in the corner. Those are different pods. So they call that under the clock. Back in the day, I don't know if it's still called that anyway. So that's the city hall on the left, where the power structure is at, the mayor, the police chief. Then you got, here's a shout out to the marshals from the MC. Then you got the government center right in front of that. The government center is where the Derek Chauvin trial was held, and also was going to be where the Kim Potter's trial is going to be held. I think possibly even the same room, up on the 18th floor, 1856. Kim Potter will be tried for the murder of Dante Wright. She killed him during a traffic stop in April. She's only being charged with 2nd degree and 1st degree manslaughter, though. It's not a murder charge. So that is starting November 30th. After originally saying that there would be no video and audio video and audio coverage of the trial, the judge actually reversed her decision and has decided to allow video coverage of the trial. So that's pretty big happening here locally as well as nationally, because now transparency will be a thing in that trial. We'll all be able to see the trial and follow Unicorn Riot during that trial. We'll be doing what we can to bring the documents, to documenting it and bringing you the coverage of it. Sorry, my voice is blah, blah, blah. All this walking around. So anyways, thank you all. This is where it's going to be at. There's not a bunch of fencing like there was last time when we were here with the Derek Chauvin trial. there is some fencing around the fountain.
No love for police 1312.
So this is the light rail. The light rail is now blocked by folks that are moving through downtown.
No love for police 1312. Roses are red, pigs are blue. No love for police 1312.
You hear the chant, roses are red, pigs are blue, she said.
Fuck 12, we don't fuck with you. You look like shit 1312. You look like shit 1312. Fuck 12, we don't fuck with you. You look like shit 1312.
So folks have maneuvered their way up here by the Hennepin County Government Center. There might be some speeches. It might just be a call out and then be done with it. We'll see.
You can fuck with me. You can kill our people. Fuck MPD.
Some new chants going on.
I think all we want this morning, too. I don't even filter that. We're moving everyone we're going to the sidewalk, y'all. Everyone, let's go to the sidewalk.
So let's get a view of this poster right here. So we got the images of some of the victims, all three of the victims of Kyle Rittenhouse. We got Gage Grosskreutz, he got shot in the arm. We got Anthony Huber, he was shot and killed, and then Joseph Rosenbaum, he was shot and killed. So you see justice for Rittenhouse victims. Either of you all want to talk about the sign at all? Yeah. So what's bringing you out here to hold this sign right now here in Minneapolis?
That bullshit little bitch-ass Kyle Rittenhouse got away with murder, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of protesters doing time for non-violent offenses. There ain't no such thing as violence towards inanimate, non-living objects, and this motherfucker gets away with murder. White people get away with murder all the time, and they don't even got the blue badge to defend them like the cops do.
Did you watch the proceedings of the trial?
Yeah, I watched some of them.
What was your interpretation of how the trial was running?
Man, it was biased as shit, man. The judge was like another defense attorney for this little bitch.
So you've been to protests here in Minneapolis. We've seen people have arms, have weapons out. We haven't seen that many counter-protesters with weapons that are aiming it at that specific type of time. We did go through an uprising. We had a lot of things happen. But we didn't really have a situation like Kyle. What do you feel like if you were on the streets? What do you feel like? Do you feel like people did the right thing to try to stop him? Do you feel like they should have done a different tactics to try to stop him? What is your interpretation of how it went down on the street?
They absolutely should have tried to stop him, and the people that unfortunately gave their lives to try to stop him, I think they did it right. I mean, one person went on with a skateboard. Even in cases where they can perceive that one person has a weapon, usually the person with the more powerful weapon faces more of a consequence. So, a skateboard is no comparison to a gun.
Word. Anything else you feel like saying? We got Anthony Huber, he died. Jojo Rosenbaum died. Grosskreutz, he was actually on the stand. He lived. He also, he spoke some words on there. Sort of said he pointed the gun at Kyle. Some people are saying that was sort of a turning point. But people, as you said, other people are saying it was a bias from the start. The way the judge was interacting with the defense and blah blah blah. What is your interpretation about the folks that you're holding now? Three faces.
Even if he did point the gun at Kyle, a handgun's nothing compared to an AR-15, so it's just, there's no comparison saying that he pointed a gun at Kyle versus Kyle shooting him immediately. There's no claim of self-defense there. He went there with the intent, with the mindset to spill blood under the guise of claiming to protect property that wasn't even his. And it was in response to a police shooting a guy in the back.
Well, thank you. Anything you feel like we're not saying, or you feel like you want to say?
Just free all the people. I know, some people have been super supportive towards me, especially you, Nico. I appreciate the hell out of that. But it's not about any single one of us. None of us are free till we're all free, and free Tom means free the people, all the people, every time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it. All right. So as you see, we got the Gage Grosskreutz, Anthony Huber, and Jojo Rosenbaum, Justice for the Rittenhouse victims. I think there's still some speakers going on. We're going to go check these speakers out real quick. I think they might just be doing some chants. Within that discussion, though, I would like to also add that we had a situation similar that I didn't bring up to Tom just right then, which I probably should have. Back in 2015, white supremacists came to the 4th Precinct, shot 5 people, and then tried to claim self-defense. And Alan Scarcella, the perpetrator, actually got sentenced in prison for about 12 years in prison for not attempted murder, but for assault charges. So we had a situation similar, and there are situations like that where counter-protesters to Black Lives Matter protests have continually tried to egg on people in the protest to try to get them to do something so then they can react. Also, you look back over in Portland, you had Michael Reynolds. He was killed by a federal task force who hunted him down after he shot a pro-Trumper outside in Portland on the streets, who was also very threatening to other people, according to him and some others. So that's a situation similar in a way.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love and support one another. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love and support one another. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. All right, loud enough for the people in Kenosha to hear us, y'all. Now we stand in solidarity. Y'all ready? It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love and support one another. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
My friend said, you and Mariah. All right, give yourselves a hand. Get home safe. Look for the next call to action. Thank y'all for being out here.
So that sort of concluded this rally here that was organized by a litany of local groups, including Racial Justice Network, including families, supporting families against police violence, including, I think, CUAPB and Black Lives Matter Minnesota, as well as some other places. This is behind us, the Hennepin County Government Center. This is where you will probably see our local coverage next, with the Daunte Wright trial coming up. Again, this was in response to Kyle Rittenhouse being let off, being found not guilty by a jury in Wisconsin. A lot of people have brought up different speculations as to why and reasonings as to why. The reality is that it's happened. Now people are left to deal with it. The 3 victims, as we saw on that sheet, on that banner a little bit ago, the 2 of them who were killed, they're now left without a family member. The family, the friends, the community there then around them is all impacted by this. And not only was it Jacob Blake, but it was these that came out. So we're gonna bring the stream down. Thank you all for tuning in. Akitata is on the camera. This is Nico. Alex on the back end, thank you so much. Thank you also Chris and Dan. I think we're moderating as well. So appreciate you all. Again, if you want to know more information about Jojo Rosenbaum and about Anthony Huber being killed by Kyle Rittenhouse, we're going to do a little we're going to do a little article just going to showcase a little bit of the trial. I'm sure you guys already have found out about it and have been caught up enough already though. So again, continue to follow us. If you appreciate our work, go to unicornride.ninja/donate. Check us out on all the social media platforms. A real quick thing to bring up as well. We heard a lot from police killing mothers and other folks, family members who've lost their sons, their loved ones to police killings. We have a lot of documentation of that coming out soon. We have some media coming out, which is likely going to be a podcast coming up in the next 2 months. We'll spotlight a lot of these mother stories. Mothers like Kim Handy Jones. We're also going to be working on bringing that documentary, the Mother's Doc, that we've been working on for a while, for many years now. We're going to work on finishing that within the next year. So wanted to tie those into exactly what we just saw here in downtown Minneapolis. Again, Akisha Sa is on the cam. This is Nico. Thank you all for tuning in. This is the Hennepin County Government Center. This is where Dante Wright's trial will be held. If you want to know more information about that, check out our website. Beyond that, Kyle Rittenhouse is home. He didn't have to do any time. He wasn't charged with any crime. And folks here had a message, and they said that wasn't right. We heard multitude of reasonings as to why it wasn't right. Go back in the stream, check some of that out if you want to hear some of those. We did miss some of the earlier speeches on the stream. We'll try to get you an article up that'll encapsulate a lot of that. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace.